If you're thinking about being a model, but you have no experience, I'm here to tell you everything you need to know as someone who entered the industry 3 years ago. I entered the industry with no experience, no connections, not really any extensive knowledge about the modeling industry. And now I'm currently signed with an agency in New York. I've been booking work and I picked up some gems along the way that I think would be really helpful for you. I did a part 1 of this video around 2 weeks ago, which I'll link down in the description below, but I realized that I missed some pretty solid points. So here I am back again with a part 2. The first thing that nobody told me was that you have to network really hard. Everyone knows that you have to network really hard, whether you're a model, a makeup artist, a photographer, casting director. You never know when the right group of people will mix to create the next really cool campaign or project. And this might be hard to do when you're just starting out and you don't know anyone, so you don't really know who you should even be reaching out to. But the great thing about starting as a model in 2023 is that we have access to people through social media. You can make that initial connection with a photographer, a makeup artist, maybe a stylist if it makes sense, by following them on their social media accounts. And if you want to reach out to do a shoot with a photographer and or stylist and makeup artist, you can go ahead and send them a message as well. Not everyone is willing to shoot, or I guess the term is test, for free, but some might be. And the way everyone judges whether or not they want to work with each other is by their portfolios. So I would make sure that your portfolio is as solid as possible before reaching out to these photographers and makeup artists for a TFP or a trade for print. And every once in a while, enough for me to raise this point, I see on Instagram that photographers, casting directors, makeup artists, they will post for rush calls on their Instagram stories. And these rush calls aren't just limited to models. I see makeup artists asking for assistants. I see casting directors asking for photographers and stylists. And sometimes this work is paid, sometimes it isn't. But either way, if you're new to the industry, it's great to use these opportunities to build your portfolio. One way to figure out who you might want to connect with is looking at other models who are a couple steps ahead of you in their careers and in building out their portfolios. Almost everyone tags the team that they work with. So which photographers are they working with? Which hair and makeup artists are they working with? And can you potentially work with these people to build your portfolio? You can ask if they'll do a TFP, but generally they'll probably give you their rates. And if you want to shoot with them, then you would have to pay them for this test shoot. The next thing no one told me was that you should be the one that manages your relationship with your agent. Your agent or agency is probably managing a whole roster of models. If every model is getting 1 to 5 castings a week or direct requests on top of that, that's a lot of work on the agent's plate. So I like to have a check-in every few months to retake digitals, to talk about my goals and what types of clients I want to be booking. I like to understand how they're marketing me and how they will continue to market me, and just make sure that I am still top of mind for them. It makes sure that we're still in alignment and on the same page. If they're not willing to meet, then that could be a red flag that they're not willing to invest in you as a model. I wish someone had told me early on to plan my test shoots with a mood board of images that I want to create. As a model, you're in control of your own business, so it's largely up to you, maybe with some help from your agency, to have an idea of what type of portfolio you want to build. If you're a complete beginner, you can draw inspiration from the types of clients you want to work with and build your portfolio off of that. For example, if you want to work with a commercial lingerie brand, you're going to want to include lingerie photos in your portfolio. Same for fitness or beauty bookings also. If you're trying to book, say, a Nike type of ad, and everything in your book is editorial or high fashion or headshots, the casting director or the client can't really imagine how you might look as an athletic person. They like to see what you're capable of and book you off of that. So then you would want to include some action shots of you running, stretching, yoga poses, anything of that sort. Regardless of whether you're shooting a TFP, a trade for print, or if you're paying for a test shoot, you'll want to collaborate with your photographer and hair and makeup artist to make sure that you will be getting images out of the shoot that you can work with. This is especially the case if you're paying for the shoot, because those can get really expensive, and you want to make sure that you're getting a solid return on investment in your portfolio. If you're signed with an agency, sometimes it can be helpful to forward your mood board to your agent to figure out if those images are the types of images that your agent can use to market you to clients. During the shoot, you can also reference the mood board for different movement inspiration or pose inspiration. And also the photographer has an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, so they know how to set up the angles accordingly too. When I was a new model and doing my first few shoots, I didn't really know what types of images I was supposed to add into my book. I largely left it up to the photographer to direct me, and it happened that I came away with images that I liked. But as you build your portfolio, you want to be more intentional with the types of images you're adding to your book, because otherwise your portfolio will just be very like one-dimensional and it won't show different abilities that you might have as a model. If your photographer is also styling you, which is a lot of add-ons that photographers have, giving them a mood board to reference can help them craft the looks that will help expand your portfolio. The next thing no one told me is that modeling is a career and you have to invest money into it. I knew that I had to invest money, I just didn't know how much and to whom, because it turns out there's a bunch of different people we have to pay to be able to market ourselves as models. First off, and I say this quite often, if you're signed as a model to an agency, you should not have to be paying any upfront fees to an agency. As far as the exact startup costs, typically you'll have to pay for website fees. These can range from $180 to like $500. My agency will take my website fees out of my first paycheck of the year. If you go to in-person castings, you'll have to pay for comp cards and a portfolio. The comp card you'll generally pay directly to the printer, and I think I got like 10 for $45. And then the portfolio, I'm not sure how much the portfolio costs, but a portfolio would just be a folder with your portfolio images. I generally use an iPad and I just pull up a Photos app and show people my portfolio if they want to see it. I actually have never been asked to show my portfolio. As I mentioned before, you'll also want to pay for a test shoot, which can range from $500 to $1,000 depending on where you live. There's some other minor expenses like maybe a tripod for your self-tapes, an outfit for digitals, heels for digitals, and all of these expenses you can write off during tax season, but these are the upfront costs that you'll have to consider if you want to be a model. I see being a model as being in charge of my own business, and if you're with an agency, there's a lot an agency can do for you, but there's a lot that you have to do on your own end to make sure that you're in the best possible position to be booking jobs. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more. And if you haven't caught part 1, I would highly recommend it. You can find it right here, and I'll see you next week.